go 90, you go negative 90.
Why?
It's supposed to be I go 90, you go 10. Not I go 90, you go minus 90.
Mama, today is not relationship conversation.
I go 140%.
Wow!
Wiggly toddler.
Good
morning.
Good morning and happy Monday, you guys. We hope that you had an amazing weekend. We sure did.
Hi, Stephanie and Kristen and Tiffany and Lauren and Jeanette and Molly and Janice and Tammy and Veronica and Lauren and
Wait, I think I see a new
Brittany
name.
and Kayla.
Good.
No,
Oh no, that's
Always.
Tiffany. It's
Always.
the Mac Mary
You
that
always do
throws
that.
me off.
Brandy, hello. Nikki, hello.
Johnson.
Mandy. Did I ever say that?
Mandy Strong, is that the name? Mandy Strong, go up.
Yeah.
That's an amazing name. Mandy Strong. It's a statement. It's like Atwood Strong.
And Danica and Heather and Megan and Christina and Anna and okay, all right. Good morning, everybody in Brogan. Okay, so it's Monday,
It's Monday.
and today we're talking about the psychology of an all or nothing mentality. This is something that we've talked about before, but because it is such a big, what do I want to call it, hurdle within this industry, and people,
And with you guys, with our community.
yeah, and women especially wanting fat loss, and like one of probably the number one reasons why, I would call it one of the number one reasons
That what?
that women continue to yo-yo or fail anytime they have an attempt to try losing body fat.
If you're a yo-yo dieter, then you definitely have an all or nothing mentality. If you've tried a whole bunch of stuff, then you definitely have an all or
It's
nothing
like
mentality.
99%.
Raise your hand if you are one of those people.
Raise your hand if going into a Monday and your intention or your goal is fat loss or weight loss, whatever you want to call it, and you have thought, okay, I've got to get all organized. It's good timing. I've got to do workouts. I've got to, I've got my meal prep done. I'm prepared. I've got my Oxygen or Women's Health magazine. I'm going to read.
I got my grilled chicken and broccoli.
And I'm going to do this thing 100%.
Yep.
Hey, not anymore. We did not ask if you currently said, have you ever, all you I used to be's?
Guess what? We used to be too. So let's tell them a little bit about...
Hey, for one, I'm really glad that it's a used to be and not a current. But we want to just kind of make a point that even the not anymores or I used to be's count as yes, I've done that. And pretty much every comment that I saw, we got a raised hand, we got a yep, we got a not anymore, that counts as a yes, we got a yep, another raised hand, not anymore, also counts as a yes, I used to be, also counts as a yes, another raised hand, another raised hand, another raised hand, yes, raised hand. 100% of the people that commented have said to some degree that has been something that has been a mentality that they have had going into achieving a fat loss goal. Boogie, can you
Now, for anybody who said used to be, I'm curious, what was the difference? Was it like, since you've listened to us or gone into any of our programs, like what was the breaking point? I would love to know. But the truth is that both Erin and myself have been that for a very long time, right?
Had.
And I wanna take yesterday for example. So our diet is very balanced and very clean. When we have a treat, every once in a while, we make sure it's a really good treat and it's very intentional.
Did anybody see our Instagram story last night?
We had ice cream last night, and I told you before we went to bed, I'm like, you definitely converted me, because to me, like, I'm not a big ice cream person, but that ice cream was amazing. It had all the things.
I actually don't think I had anything to do with it. By surprise, ice cream was actually Sarit's idea.
Yeah.
And I'm the ice cream lover. Of course, I'm like, well, we haven't had a treat for a while, of course. Why wouldn't I want ice cream? I think that the ice cream place that made the ice cream is what converted you.
Yeah, that ice cream place is definitely amazing. But, look, we had an intentional treat last night. We had 2 scoops, and that was that, right? Like, the me of 10 years ago would have had probably a pint and then would have sabotaged for the rest of the day. And going into today, I would have felt so sick, so guilty, so shitty that I would have tried to do anything that I could to erase that, right?
So full disclosure, we actually left the place with 2 pints and 2 scoops, because we each had a flavor that would be kind of like our own flavor, like the other person probably wouldn't really like it that much. And then we got 2 pints of flavors that we would both like.
What were the flavors?
Well, somebody asked, so I'm going to answer that. So the individual flavors, I got strawberry cheesecake party. I don't know what it was called. Strawberry cheesecake something. And you got praline pecan.
Yum.
Okay. So then the pints that we got it was called Oreo dough. It's like Oreos with cookie dough. And then we also got a peanut butter chocolate chunk or something.
Chocolate brownie.
Chocolate brownie chunk. Chocolate peanut butter brownie chunk. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. So epic. Anyways, so the reason why I say how much we got is to say that even the us of several years ago wouldn't be able to not eat all of that. There is still some in our freezer. There's actually probably over an entire pint left, probably like a pint and a half left. But we wanted to try each of the flavors, and then that was that. So it's and with full confidence that ice cream can live in the freezer and we don't have to go touch it. So to hopefully inspire you to know that if ice cream was something I ate every single night without skipping a beat when I was younger, and I carried that into my adulthood, and then that was something that I never thought I'd be like, oh, I have to eat ice cream every single week. And I've gone before months without eating ice cream now.
Yeah.
Right. Which is crazy to think. So if you have some kind of sugar, you're like, I'm addicted to sugar, or some kind of vice that you have, you can overcome that hurdle. It just takes time. It takes consistency. It takes progress, not perfection. And that's what this episode is about.
And it also takes discipline, right? And all of which are a journey, right? Like, even a year ago, we would have probably gone back to the freezer and have probably stood by the freezer and have eaten a little more, and then would have requested to toss it out, because if it's in our environment, we wouldn't have the discipline to not go for it. 5 years ago, there's no way in hell that, that shit would have even lasted. Like, the entire 2 pints and 2 cups would have been gone, and, we would have felt really shitty about it. 10 years from now, of course, all of that, and then we would have probably had a lot of other shit to before and after that to just cover up on it, because we already felt so bad. So like, might as well just feel even worse, right? So like, our point for sharing this with you is that to really put into perspective that this is a journey, and like, this is a journey that takes time, and it takes diligence, and it takes effort. And also, our point for sharing this is to show you that you guys, that we're humans too. Yeah. Right? We're humans too, and we like to enjoy our lives, but we're also very serious about our goals, right? So, we're now at a point when we do something that's not a part of our regular routine. We do it because it's intentional, okay? And there is a meaning behind it, and when we do it, we know that we have full control over it, and there's no guilt afterwards, right? Like, there's pleasure within and there's pleasure after, and going into the next day, because we haven't overdone it, right? Like, we feel clear, we are ready to provide and be, and just, have high energy, okay? So we really hope that this had inspired you, but,
Can I say too, can I say thank you? I'm going to say it. One of the things that I'm like turning the clock back to when, like, all out full binge eat until I felt sick. And I remember actually thinking, oh, well, since I'm and this is such a common thing, I really believe, that, can we bring that to your lap? Just because it's shaking the table.
Yeah, sorry.
I really believe that a lot of us go kind of hog wild when we're motivated to start the next day, because we truly believe for a second, but really we're lying to ourselves, that this is going to be the last time that we binge. Starting tomorrow, and I'm really motivated, so I might as well get it in now, because it's never going to happen again. And we are completely lying to ourselves. And then it turns into this, tell me I'm wrong. It turns into this vicious cycle, right? How many of you have been night snackers? Like, after dinner, before bed, hiding it when nobody's watching. These are signs that we got work to do.
Yep. You're ashamed of it. So here's the difference, right?
Between what and what?
Between somebody who's all or nothing, or the person who has overcome it. Okay. The only way for you to overcome an all or nothing mentality is to start being intentional. Okay. So now I just looked up the definition of the word intention. Okay. Intention is a thing intended, an aim, or a plan. Okay. So now what does that tell me? That tells me that if I have an intention, then I'm aware of why I'm doing it.
There is a why. It's not mindless.
Right. So like, I want you to, if you're able to like take notes, you'll want to write this down. Like, before having a treat, or before having anything of that sort, like, why are you doing it? Like, do you ever take the time to think, why am I doing this? For us, that treat was a celebration. There was an intention behind it. Right? So the story and the energy that went into this event was positive. Right? And that's exactly why, like, everybody sees like French and Italian girls eating pizza, drinking wine, eating pasta, wondering why they're not gaining weight. Because their intention with regards to the act, for one, is positive, and for two, they have an intention. Now, when you have an all or nothing mentality, and you either want to call it a binge or just like going completely overboard, it's normally, okay, as a way to mask emotions.
Or escape from something.
Or escape from something.
Momentarily.
Right. There's no intention going into it. It's like you're trying to, what's the word? Not dig.
Sweep.
Yes, it's like you're trying to sweep your emotions under the rug. So instead, you're distracting yourself with that act.
How many times have we heard the term stress eating or emotional eating?
Yeah.
That is that. There are emotions and feelings that you have that you want to ignore, so you eat.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
And the thing is, the reason why it takes time to overcome it, because if you're an emotional or a stress eater, right? Like, you know, from the mechanic standpoint, you have developed a pattern, aka a habit, that every time you're stressed out, you cover up your feelings by going to eat. Okay? And that's why it takes time to reverse that, because your brain is now wired to do that. It's like, this is how you manage pain, anger, anxiety, whatever. Like you eat whatever. So it's a problem because there's no intention behind it, right? There's no intention behind it. So what ends up happening, right, is that you eat more and more of it, right? And of course, we've already talked about it. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine, right? So because you're very stressed out, you eat so much to a point that you then get distracted. Now you're going from being anxious to feeling completely sick, or feeling anxious, guilty, and sick, right? You're now distracted. It's no longer that initial emotion. Let's say, you know, you just broke up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're in pain, whatever. You're like, oh, I just need ice cream, whatever. You even see it in all the movies. It's something that is so common, especially among the female population. But, you know, afterwards, right, like the feeling of being buzzed or the sugar high or whatever distracts you from the initial feeling, right? But then physiologically and behaviorally, right, we are down, because after, right, we either drink a lot of alcohol or we eat a lot of sugar. What's followed by it is a crash.
And a word that starts with a capital G and rhymes with schmilt.
Kilt.
Kilt. Frilt.
Guilt.
Yep.
You feel guilty afterwards, right? So, you know, from a scientific standpoint, right, when you feel guilty about something, the first thing that your mind will want to do is to erase all of it, right? It's a defense mechanism that we've developed.
It makes me think of I'm like, erase all of it. Okay, what does that mean? Eat more. And then I started thinking about how to cure a hangover, how to prevent a hangover is to keep drinking. Like, we've heard that before. And I'm like, how to prevent guilt is to keep eating. You're stuffing more emotions down.
Right.
What's that game? What's that game with the, you hit the gophers that pop out of the... Did you ever play that game?
Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't know. I played it in
Whack-a-mole.
Israel.
Whack-a-mole?
I think so.
Bow, bow. It's like that.
Uh-huh.
Every time you eat, you're going bam. Poof, poof.
Yeah.
Not every time you eat, but...
So what ends up happening is that you're so guilty, right? And depending on your response, right, your brain will want to cover it up. So you will either cover it up by repeating the act, right? And by actively distracting yourself, right? Actively distracting yourself, whether it's through food, alcohol, gambling, watching porn, whatever it is, right? Like, insert your pattern in the blank, right? Or you're the kind of person, and this is for all my perfectionists out there, we're like, okay, back on track, I have to erase all of that. So, like, you will go the complete opposite way, right? And you will probably, like, restrict yourself of calories, make sure that you won't get off the elliptical until you hit at least 1,000 calories, and then you're like, you know what? I feel so terrible about last night. Like, I'm gonna go an extra 200 calories. I don't know if you're like me, but for the longest, like, I had this thing. I would eat so much to a point where I will feel like my skin will expand. People told me that I'm crazy for it, but I called it fat pain. And fat pain is the feeling that you ate so much, you feel like your body is gaining so much weight at such a rapid pace that your fat can barely keep up, so your skin is expanding.
Your skin can barely keep up.
I called it fat pain. And I used to have, when I used to binge, like after an event of binging, I would have fat pain. And that feeling, oh my God.
For the record, you're not going to ever gain an extreme amount of weight within like a day. Or like, extreme is like, I remember one time I gained 20 pounds in a month. That shit's extreme. But within one day or within one binge is not the issue. The issue is the consistency in your behavior, positive or negative. So
I want to use the poker analogy, right, with regards to the need to erase it all, right? Because that is what your brain is going to do. Your brain is going to erase it by either repeating the behavior, if that is how you handle stress. Right? If that is your way of handling stress, then you're going to repeat the same thing, okay? Or if you have a perfectionist mindset, right? For all you perfectionists out there, that is who I used to be, right? You'll try to erase it all by going the opposite way. Go ahead.
Perfectionist is the idea that you cannot move on from something until you have gotten this other thing perfect. That's what I think of, like, perfection is like, I feel like as a perfectionist, like I can't move forward until everything is right. I can't move forward until all the things are perfect. I've done it perfectly. And so then it's either blocking you from moving forward, or it completely takes you out of the game because you didn't get it right.
Yeah, so like, I'm not a poker player by any means, but
we're gonna try a poker analogy though. Let's see how this goes.
But I read a lot. I read a lot of books, and I've also watched movies about poker, so I get the analogy, and that's why I feel comfortable talking about it. But it's like, you know, once, like, think about like the gambling tables, or whether it's scraps, you call it, craps.
She's really good at poker.
Yeah, I'm really good at these games.
It's called craps.
Craps.
She's referring to craps.
Right. So let's say, you know, you bet a couple $100, right? Like things are going well for you, right? Things are working, and then after the accumulation of the couple $100, let's say we made it to like $5,000, the person on the table won, and you just lost it all, right? So what normally happens from a behavioral standpoint is our brain will want to erase the mistake or the event that happened that was not in our favor, right? And in poker, what poker players would do is that after a loss, they would start betting more.
To make up for it. So we're going to say someone rolled that special number you're never supposed to say at the craps table.
What is it?
7. And you lose all the money you just put on the table. But like Sarit said, the concept has nothing to do with the details. What the concept is that when you lose your money, or when someone bluffs the shit out of you, and you call, or you fold, and they get all the money, then you try now to bet more so you can make up for what you just lost, because you've got to get back. Now you have a standard. You've got to get back to a certain place, and you will just keep doing whatever it takes to get there, and you just keep tanking, and you just keep going downhill, because also your mindset's not in the right place. You're operating then from a place of fear and from a place of scarcity rather than a place of abundance and confidence.
You brought up a really important word called standard. Now the importance and the problem, right, with this all or nothing thinking is the fact that you're adding somebody to the conversation.
No, I don't need to add to the call. I'm adding to watch.
Oh, okay. is the problem that now you have the standard that, let's say, clean eating is just eating chicken and broccoli. That clean eating is the behavior of how you act when you erase the problem.
Or,
this is for anybody who has ever tried like any bikini competition, or to all the like amateur bodybuilders out there. This is why they fucking struggle, because their standard is skewed.
yeah, it is also to do with the, keep talking. I lost it. I'll think about it again.
But yeah, this standard is the standard that fucks up so many, right? You're in a constant state of, acting either at a 0 or 100. But here's the thing: in order for you to see progress, okay, it requires one thing and one thing only, and it's called consistency. And that's why our program is so different. And when people go into the first call with me, for example, like I tell them in advance, I'm warning you, like the things that we're about to talk about here might seem super unconventional, and you will probably think that I'm crazy, but that's all right, because you already know that I'm kind of crazy anyways. However, it works.
But why do they think that it's crazy?
Because we don't preach perfectionism, and the strategies that you're given based off of where you're at have nothing to do with you being perfect or close to it.
So, for an example, somebody who struggles with late night snacking, let's take that one because I know it's a big one. Somebody who struggles with late night snacking. You finish dinner, before you go to bed though, somehow you need to satisfy something. So you got to go find some granola or chocolate or chips or whatever.
Gotta get my pound of granola in.
Right. So, you go do that, and that's your habit. And we will say, okay, your first steps are to
show me how bad your bad is.
No, just to not even change your habit the first week. Don't even change your habit. Just tally up how many times you do it. If you had to tally up how many times you felt like you shit the bed, do you think you would want to shit the bed less? Just saying. That's rhetorical.
It creates awareness, right? Awareness is step one with regards to having an intention.
Right.
The problem is that people try to avoid the problem, and that's the problem with conventional diets, right? Like they give you strategies that make you avoid the problem. So like your patterns are still the same. And that is why you keep on struggling. And that's why keto is not a solution, right? Keto, tells people who eat carbs like assholes to avoid carbs. So of course, when you eat carbs like an asshole and then you don't eat carbs, guess what?
Okay, what is eating carbs like an asshole?
That means being like having no intention with regards to carbs, and when you do, because you have no control, you eat a lot of carbs that are very processed. Right, like low pizza, quality carbs in great amounts.
Like Costco pizza, hot dogs, donuts,
muffins, cereal. Like that's eating carbs like an asshole. It's not eating carbs consistently in every meal, right? So they're like, okay, don't eat that. Okay, great. Of course that's going to work. However, the problem lies in the fact, from a behavioral standpoint, that your pattern in your brain is still the same. Right? So if you don't fix the problem, it's only a matter of time until the problem is going to return, right? And that's why it's always like, I was good until.
I was doing really great.
I was doing great until. Oh, that's all it takes. All it takes is like a 2 mile per hour wind to knock off the entire Empire State Building. No, you got to build a strong foundation. And building a strong foundation requires you to really like rework all of the wiring and the patterns with regards to your thought process. But guess what? That takes time. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Everybody's like, when I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight because I'm in pain. I feel so ashamed about the way that I look and feel because none of my clothes fit me anymore.
Makes me
my
insecure.
significant partner doesn't even like pay attention to me. My kids treat me like shit.
I want to be able to shave. I want to be able to see my vagina when I shave. Somebody posted that on the group.
Yeah, that was amazing. That's amazing. But here's the thing. This is not about you getting to a point that you're no longer in pain. This is about you constantly getting better, right? And the only way for you to constantly get better is to keep on doing all the internal work that will switch your patterns up. Otherwise, the problem is going to repeat itself, and you're just playing like you're playing this game on, like, you're either here or you're there. Like, you're never in between. It's like this or that. So you're like, boom, 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 boom. All it takes is an event for it to trigger you, and then you switch back from like being really good to being really bad. And by the way, the standard that you created for yourself, that being really good standard, that's a skewed standard anyways.
Anima. Chelsea said, I feel like I need to rewatch this every morning. And I say, why not?
Yeah, do it.
If it inspires you.
And if you
maybe you need to watch it in the evening or at the end of your work shifts when you're going to come home, or whenever you are struggling, like whenever your struggle, like your pattern is, whatever time that happens is when you need to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and by the way, if you're like, I feel like I need to watch this every morning and every night, then you probably will really benefit from our help. Just saying. So you can start like applying it into your life and not just like hearing it. It's one thing to listen, and it's another thing to act. However, acting is step one. Hi, Ma. But here's the thing. So like, what do you do next if you're that kind of person? Okay.
What to do?
Yeah. So here's the thing. For one, you need to accept the fact that all or nothing hasn't gone you very far, and it's obviously not working. So you need to change your approach. Okay. You have to change your approach. Like, you have to accept it. Okay. That's step one. And the second step, okay, with regards to changing your approach, is that you can't be afraid of failure.
Oof.
You just have to learn from every single time that you fail. The amount of times that Erin and I have failed have led us to live the life that we live right now. Because failures are learning opportunities, but you will only learn from it if you're aware. Okay, so step one, right? If you have an all or nothing personality, right, and your nutritional patterns are all or nothing, okay, is accepting what is, okay, accepting that, okay, we have an issue that needs to be solved, okay, being aware of it, okay, and let's say if ice cream is your thing, don't avoid the ice cream. Just focus on, okay, what can I do that's better than? And for everybody, it's going to look different. And if you're really serious about actually, like, you know, changing your patterns so that you can actually like change your body and life, then maybe you should contact us and see if you're a good fit for our Inner Circle program, because that's exactly what we do in that program. Right? But, you know, the reality is that all or nothing approach is not going to get you anywhere. And if you're currently living it, then you can probably attest that you've been stuck or you've been derailed, right? It's really, it's kind of like a matter of how consistent are you with trying to clean things up after you fucked up. Because it's going from 0 to 100 to 0 to 100, right? You end up staying in the same spot, right? That's all I got.
Yeah, I think if you can just focus on one thing alone to begin to overcome, two things. For one, have an expectation that it's going to take time and you're going to make mistakes. However, you can promise yourself that each time you fall short in your opinion, then you have to learn something from it. And you have to write that something down. What did I learn? This is what happened. This is what I learned from it. Next time I commit to doing this one thing a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't try to say I'm going to avoid anything. That's always a dead end. For 2, you need to, what was 2? I forgot what it was.
Like write it down. I would say the second thing is you need to be held accountable, because you alone are not doing a great job at holding yourself accountable.
Okay, the second one was have an intention. Have an intention behind anytime you eat. What is the purpose of me eating this?
Mm-hmm.
So be mindful and actually take a second to think about that. So know that it's going to be a journey and be okay with that. Embrace that. But then also be intentional.
Yeah.
So those are, I would say, step 1 and step 2. And then if you're already nervous about being able to follow through with this, then yes, you need accountability. There is not a question about that. And especially in the beginning, everybody
needs accountability. Like, we have people holding us accountable, right? Like, it doesn't, like, if you want to get better, you need to be held accountable.
For example, Sarit and I are not drinking for 30 days. I believe it's been about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday I really wanted a drink. Had it not been for my commitment, not only to myself, but also to Sarit and anybody else that I've told that we're not drinking for 30 days, I probably would have. If I'm the only one that knows, I'm not letting anybody else down. It's so easy to let yourself down.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's like, oh, if I'm not disappointing somebody else, then nobody knows. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So to have accountability, either a private coach or public accountability or both, you are so much more likely to follow through with your commitments.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's something that you need, like ASAP, reach out to us. Send me a Facebook message.
Yeah.
And get this too. Any coaching that's worth it is going to be an investment. You get what you pay for. If you pay $150 or $200 for some kind of nutrition plan that's like very specifically detailed macros, this, and it's a template that they send you.
You get information, you don't get access and accountability, and that's when the change happens.
So yeah.
That's all I got. So remember, all or nothing is just, it's a vicious cycle. Like us, you too can get out of it. It sounds as if a lot of you guys are on the right path. But you know what? If you know that you're struggling, then guess what? Nothing changes if nothing changes. Like, you need to change your approach. You need to change your thinking, and you need to change your act. But, by the end of the day, just like anything else in life, the change will only happen if you really want it. If you don't, you will keep on making excuses.
True.
And that's okay. But if you make excuses, then do us a favor and please don't complain about it. If you're watching this on YouTube, then do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so that you'll be able to see every time we drop a video, which is like basically 5 days per week. It is August, by the way, so happy August. This month is going to be absolute fire. The topics that we have are amazing. The guest speakers that we have, the lineup is incredible. So we're really stoked for it. We hope to add a lot of value to you guys. As always, remember this: if you found today's conversation helpful, then do us a favor and just share it with somebody that you love, okay? And if you do, then if you're sharing this on Facebook, then please, when you share, hashtag share the thought, because today is Mindset Monday. Share the thought and tag Erin and myself. We would definitely comment if you've shared the thought for today.
Kayla reminded me, the In Motion Challenge you guys may have heard of. We are starting next Monday, so exactly 1 week from today. There's an option to do it for free. You just have to download the Team XND app, and then you are ready to go. And then if you want a chance to win $1,000, there is purchase required. Obviously, they want you to have some skin in the game if you're going to be winning $1,000. So that is either the X Endurance Motion Box, which gives you an opportunity to try some of the products that we believe are truly superior with incredible integrity and actual functionality and effectiveness. So the Motion Box or any of the packs, I actually forgot to mention. So if whatever's in the Motion Box doesn't fit your fancy, you can also do any of the packs other than the sample box. So Victory Pack, Wellness Pack, Performance Pack. Amen. Or the Motion Box, and then complete the 21 days, which you're going to do anyways, and then you will be eligible to win $1,000. Somebody from our community is going to win, and the more people we have eligible for that $1,000, the more opportunity we have to win. This is going to be the biggest group that has done it as a community, and X Endurance is going to know who y'all are. Amen.
Just a reminder that tomorrow is Q&A day, so whatever question you have for us, Tammy will drop the link. Tammy, if you can do so, that'll be amazing. Ask away your questions and we will answer them tomorrow. That being said, we hope that you have an amazing week ahead and an amazing day. And we also hope that you have a consistent week ahead.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.